Hi, welcome back to my channel, Stitch and Style by me, Nadia, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the dress I have just made, and it's the dress that I'm wearing, which is the Davenport dress by Friday Pattern Company. It goes from a size XS to 7X, and I'll put the measurements, it goes from and to below for the bust, the waist and the hip. I'm sure a lot of you have tried this one or seen it on others, so I'll just briefly go through some of the details of the dress. So we've got a ruffle on the shoulder seam, and then from here to here there's an elasticated neckline, so just to provide some comfort around the neck. And then you've got a drawstring, so you've got like a separate channel which is stitched into the bodice at the top and stitched down at the bottom. And then a drawstring, so you've got ties, and I made them with the fabric. I'll just move back a bit. So we've got slash pockets on both sides, and then a ruffle that's just off camera. So that hits about mid-thigh, the ruffle, and on the pattern it goes, the dress ends above the knee, but I've actually extended it to midi, and I'll put some pictures of me wearing the dress. The sleeves are loose but without being too big. There's an elasticated cuff, and you can see there's like a ruffle underneath, so the elastic, you've got a channel there and then a small ruffle. As you can see, it's in this black and white fabric, and this is from Rainbow Fabrics, and it's viscose, but it's not a light drapey-ish viscose. It has got a little bit more weight to it, and on the Rainbow Fabrics website it does call it a heavy viscose. I will link to it down below in case you're interested and in case they have any left. I actually really enjoyed working with this fabric. So that's the pattern. I mean, I didn't bother pattern matching or anything. I had 3 meters of fabric. I only just managed to fit this dress onto 3 meters, and I had to play a bit of pattern Tetris to fit it out. I was only left with the tiniest bit of fabric left, which is really economical and good use of the fabric. So for the size large, it says you need 2.9 meters of fabric if you've got a wider fabric. So I would say that's about right, although I did lengthen the ruffle quite a bit. Oh, and I also lengthened the sleeve, so it would come just a little bit longer. In terms of the size that I made, I was looking at the sizes, and it's a size large is a bust 38 to 39, waist 30 to 32, and hips 39 to 41. And my measurements, my bust measurement's a little bit smaller than that. My waist measurement is on the smaller side and between a 29 and 30, just depending on the day, and hips are a 42. So I thought the size large would be about right, but I didn't want it to be too big on the waist. So I actually graded to a size medium at the waist and then back out to a size large, and I kept it size large on the top. As you know, if you've watched my videos before, I have a dressmaker's A cup, and I have to often go off the upper bust measurement for dresses and tops to have room for my shoulders, basically. And I think this actually sits pretty nice. I don't think I would want it any smaller across my shoulders, and I'll just show you across the back there. So here's where the seam is on both sides, and yeah, I think if I'd gone down to a size medium, that might have been a little bit too small maybe. Now obviously I've got plenty of room on my bust. I think it fits quite well under the arms. I'm pretty happy with how this fits. I don't think it's overly roomy at the top. And I didn't do a small bust adjustment or anything because there's no bust darts on it. I don't think I actually need a small bust adjustment. I think actually I'm delighted with how this fits on me. I'm really happy. It feels very comfortable. This is the first time I've actually worn it, so I'll see later whether I still think that. But yeah, so far so good. Oh, I actually forgot to mention that the other thing that I did was I did lengthen the bodice and I did a sway back adjustment, just so the drawstring was sitting on my natural waist. I added 4.5 centimetres to the waist at the front, and then on the back there's 4.5 centimetres there to match the front, but then I do adjustments so there's only 2.5 centimetres at the centre back. And that's what I generally have to do on most of my patterns because my front is longer than my back. I think it's worked perfectly. I'll just stand up and just show you once again. That's exactly my waistline sitting there, and there at the back you can see I've got enough room, but I've not got excess fabric here. There's no pooling of fabric or anything, so that works out perfectly for me. Yeah, and you can see there that I graded down there to the size medium from the size large here, and then I've just kept it large everywhere else apart from the waist. So the pattern itself, absolutely perfect. I can't fault the pattern at all, and I really enjoyed working through it, and there were some really interesting techniques that I've not done before. For example, the waist tie casing. I've never done that before, and it was something that actually I might take forward to other makes. I really liked how it worked, and I think it's a really clever pattern, and it's got some really interesting details in it. So the only problem that I had, and this was all my own doing, I must stress that, I'd cut out all the pieces, then I'd started the construction, and I'd basically constructed the whole of the top of the dress, and I just couldn't work out why my back piece, not my back yoke but the main back bodice piece, was longer than the front, and none of the notches seemed to match or anything. Anyway, I just powered on through and just moved it around as best as I could until I got to attaching the front and the back together, and I thought, no, this is just not right. So I got out the pattern pieces and compared it to my back bodice piece, and I thought, no, that's not right, because the back bodice piece, because my fabric piece was longer than the pattern piece, and so I thought, no, I must have done something wrong, I must have cut it out wrong or something. And then it occurred to me that I'd actually confused the front skirt piece with the back bodice piece. Now, I don't know how I'd done that because they don't actually look that similar. And at this point, all of the sleeve was attached. The ruffle, the sleeve, it had been overlocked as well on the inside, and I'd attached obviously my back bodice piece to the back yoke piece. I'd done the burrito method, so you can imagine how gutted I was when I realised I'd used the skirt piece for the back bodice piece, and I had a lot of unpicking ahead of me. So yeah, I'd had to unpick most of it, rescue the skirt piece, and redo the back bodice piece. I actually don't know how I did it. I just muddled my way through it, unpicking as little as I could. It all worked out in the end, and then once that little disaster was over, then it was all plain sailing from there. I don't think it would have been me if I didn't have a little hiccup along the way, but I'm really happy with the finished dress. Now, I'm going out tonight with two of my sisters and my mum, and we're going out to see some music and going out for a meal. So I'm going to wear it tonight, and I've not decided exactly how I'm going to style it, but I'll put some photos up now and a video of me just doing a little twirl in the dress. So what have I got planned now? Well, I've got two patterns that are new to me printed out, and one is a jumpsuit, and it's because I'm participating in a challenge that's running for National Jumpsuit Day, I think, which is in America. I don't know if it's also in the UK, but I heard about the challenge and I wanted to get involved because I do like a jumpsuit. I've got two Zadie's and two of the Yanta overalls, but I thought I'd try a different pattern. So I'm just making it up in black fabric at the moment. So I printed it out, and it's the Greta overalls by Made My Wardrobe. I'll put a picture in now. I think the styling of it's really cool. I have to be quite careful with jumpsuits because of the length of my body. So I have lengthened it, but this is going to be maybe a wearable twirl to see how it fits. I've not been able to do a sway back adjustment on it because I can't really work out how to do it on these dungarees. So I might have to do one after I've or as I'm going to assemble it. I might do a little tweak. So that's something that I'm part way through. I'm also part way through doing a turtleneck, which is also a pattern that I've not made before, and that's the fall turtleneck by Paper Cut Patterns. Now, as part of the pattern there's the rise and the fall. The rise is a bit more slimmer fitting and the fall is a little bit more loose fitting, and I've decided to go for the fall turtleneck, and we'll see how that comes out. So I'm just in the construction process now. So those are two things that I'm making, and I don't normally start two projects at once. So that's a little bit new to me. Normally I just do one complete project and then complete it, move on to the next. So yeah, this is a little bit of a different way of working. I've tried cutting out two, and yeah, I'll see how I get on and I'll report back to you next week. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.